If you like my videos and want to support this channel, please make sure you have subscription notifications set to all, because if this is set to personalized, chances are you will not be notified when I upload. Thanks.
A rising star rapper from Brooklyn is shot dead during a break-in at home in California. Police say 20-year-old rapper Pop Smoke, whose real name was Bashar Jackson, was shot and killed just after 4 a.m. in the Hollywood Hills. Los Angeles police say several men entered a home where he was staying and at least one gunman opened fire.
In February 2020, hip-hop fans were devastated at the loss of Pop Smoke. And the night after he passed, young people in the streets of Brooklyn and Canarsie filled the streets, blasting his music and shouting out, "Woo!" And by the time his funeral took place, even bigger crowds were gathering to pay their respects to this young, fallen legend in the game.
Long live the king, forever Pop Smoke, legendary.
We love you, Pop.
Pop Smoke's star truly burned bright and sure. Literally from the moment he completed his first song to his untimely passing was only 14 months. 14 months! Yet, in that short period of time, he achieved more than most rappers do in their entire lives. He went from dropping his very first song on YouTube, Money, Power, Respect, to the breakout hit Welcome to the Party, getting co-signs from the likes of Skepta and Nicki Minaj, all the way up to his mega hit Gatty with Travis Scott that would bring him mainstream attention. In fact, one of the last things that he even did before his sad passing was shoot a music video for his song Shake the Room with Quavo from the Migos. But this wasn't just any video. This video was directed by none other than Virgil Abloh. Hip-hop creative royalty. I mean, these are moves not everyone can make. Pop Smoke was emerging as somebody truly special within the hip-hop community, on a path to greatness that seems like it was ended quite literally on the moment before all of his dreams would come true. In fact, it was that same month of February when Pop Smoke's Meet the Woo 2 mixtape released, landing at number 7 on Billboard. But within 2 weeks, he was gone. And the fact that Pop was so sharply at the peak of his career at the time of his death is what made it so gut-wrenching for fans. I mean, in just 14 months, he dropped so many songs which in my book are definite classics. Dior, Christopher Walken, War, Gatty. I mean, Pop Smoke was a hit-making machine. And the impact that he was able to have on the industry in such a short space of time is unmatched. And Pop Smoke's music always specifically appealed to me because I love UK drill music production. And pretty much no one else had done as much as Pop Smoke had to popularize the UK drill production sound in the US and in the New York drill scene specifically. And he did this completely by accident after discovering legendary UK drill producer 808 Mello on YouTube, stealing his beats without asking and accidentally making a whole bunch of hit songs. And don't forget, this is the same 808 Mello that produced the legendary song No Better by RV and Headie One, which is quite possibly the best UK drill song in history. But of course, Pop Smoke was special in so many ways just beyond the amazing music that he made. His unique, deep, raspy voice was some type of gangster ASMR that was just the coolest shit ever, the likes of which the hip-hop game had never seen before.
Yo, did you always have this voice? Or
Nah.
is this, no, what happened?
I always had a voice,
and then what happened to
but
it?
I ain't have this voice.
And of course, his infectious ad-libs gave for some of the most energetic hip-hop performances that we had ever seen. Yet his stone-cold disposition and the relaxed way that he rode the beat meant that he could truly turn up a party and have the crowd screaming without even raising his own voice. 6ix9ine can't do that. But of course, off the mic, his unquestionable charisma and likability meant that pretty much any interview that he turned up for only made him more endearing.
Yo, your voice would be crazy, like on Waze.
Oh, that's fire.
You know what I'm saying? Or like a Siri voice.
Wait.
Yeah. Wait, hold up.
Hello, nigga left.
And of course, who could forget his infectious dance moves? Honestly, hip-hop was just a far more fun and lit place when Pop Smoke was alive. And in the short time that he was here, Pop Smoke has had an incredible influence on his peers and the hip-hop community as a whole. And amongst those friends, collaborators, and peers who were personally touched by Pop Smoke's legacy was none other than 50 Cent, who was an idol of Pop Smoke's growing up. And fortunately, those two got to spend a little bit of time together before he passed. Now, during his come-up, Pop Smoke was accused by many of looking and sounding like everybody's favourite loan sharking rapper, 50 Cent. His song PTSD was pointed at by many as sounding very 50 Cent-ish.
First, I never understood where the 50 Cent comparisons came from until I heard PTSD. And I was like, okay, now I understand.
Yeah, it's like weird. When I do like my little singing thing, it just always comes out like that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Sitting right next to you here, man, I could have thought I was sitting next to 50 Cent's younger brother.
You think so?
Yeah, man.
Why you say that?
The voice, there's a likeness.
I ain't gonna lie, 50 grew up on 50.
Of course.
Niggas be saying we cousins and shit.
Yo, you do guys like low-key look related, bro.
In fact, people said that Pop Smoke looked like 50 Cent so much growing up that by the time they got to meet, even the tough guy, Pop Smoke, found himself feeling a little bit starstruck.
I just met 50. I met 50. I was starstruck as shit. I couldn't stop smiling, nigga, because we look so much alike. It was so unreal and shit. And then it's like, damn, look at this nigga. Like, they used to call me 50 growing up. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm like, they used to call me 50. Now I'm in front of the real 50. Like, I just fanned all the way out. You know what I'm saying? So that's one.
And of course, like most people that heard his music, 50 Cent ended up becoming a fan of Pop Smoke too, singing his praises on Hot 97 and even throwing up a few woos of his own.
Pop Smoke? You like
Love Pop Smoke.
Oh, you better. Whoa. Whoa, baby.
Now, speaking of,
And well, it seemed that 50 himself wasn't bothered by the comparisons either.
speaking of Pop Smoke, a lot of people say they hear you in him. He even said that when he started, he was, you know, very influenced by you.
It's a whole new vibe.
In fact, Pop Smoke was clearly not bothered by these comparisons because he clearly took any opportunity that he could to align himself with his idol. Whether it's popping up in the This Is 50 offices to recite his favorite 50 Cent bars.
You say you a gangster, but you never shot none. Hold on.
Pop Smoke also did one of the most fire freestyles I had ever seen with the LA Leakers over 50 Cent's iconic Not Like Me beat. Man, that freestyle is so high energy it makes me feel like I just drilled my first op. And of course, who could forget Pop Smoke's modern rendition of 50 Cent's Many Men. Anywho, before Pop Smoke had passed, it seemed like him and Fofty had sparked up a truly genuine friendship, being spotted partying together in Miami at Super Bowl weekend. But this friendship stretched beyond the club, and it had turned out that Pop and 50 had actually met in person, where 50 provided some mentorship advice.
I went to his office, we chopped it up for like 3-4 hours on some shit. Like,
Get out of here, like future plans, like some kind of business,
he was
or
just schooling me, you feel me? Just showing me, just like, you know what I'm saying?
I see.
Vibes, you know what I'm saying?
And the funny thing was, 50 Cent wasn't actually that sure about Pop Smoke when he first met him. But when he took a closer look, he noticed that there was something special about this young man.
I met him, we was talking, and I was like, yo, I'm watching him, right? This nigga keep playing with his phone. Like, you know, these little niggas play with their phone all the time, bro. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with this nigga, right? On the phone, he's like, yo, what you say? He go, he looking at his phone. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this little nigga, right? I'm like, yo, hold up. I get up, because I'm trying to see what the fuck is he doing, right, with his phone. Like, he keep looking at his phone. I swear to God, the nigga was writing what I said down. He was writing it down. I looked, I said, oh shit. See, it's a difference between a nigga copying you. That's not copying. That's not copying. He never copied one fucking thing from me. I love this shit, man. I fell in love with the nigga at that point. I fell in love with that nigga. I was like, yo, it's like, what's the matter? Yo, I like this nigga, man. I'm thinking this nigga's not paying attention. And he was like, nah, this nigga, whatever 50's saying, I gotta pay attention to this.
Yes, in the very short time that they had spent together, 50 Cent was really impressed with just how studious Pop Smoke was. And this time they'd spent together had clearly had an enormous impact on 50 after Pop passed, with 50 going out of his way on Instagram to announce that he would be executive producing Pop Smoke's posthumous album, publicly posting their pictures together, and beginning to seek features from heavy hitters in the rap game like Roddy Ricch, who apparently confirmed a placement, leading 50 on to go and look for bigger fish to fry, even reaching out to Drake and Chris Brown to try and bag the biggest names for Pop Smoke's album. 50 actually went on to clarify exactly why he was doing this in a heartfelt Instagram live where he confirmed that he would be making no money off of Pop Smoke's album and that he just wanted to make Pop Smoke's album as big as he possibly could to respect his memory.
I'm executive producing his album. The shit is, you gotta believe, if you like the PSD and a lot of shit that he was doing already, then you already know what time it is. You know, so I wanna make this shit big for him. You know, he's not here, but you should love it, man. You know what I'm saying? This shit is not about record sale. Trust me, I don't need a fucking dollar. A dollar from the fucking record sale. I don't care about it. I didn't even talk to them about It doesn't matter to me.
You know, watching this video, 50 talk about Pop Smoke, I could tell that their friendship was the real deal. You know, usually when you hear about some big name rapper getting involved with someone that's passed away's project, usually the first thing you think is money grab or clout chasing. But we can tell from this video that 50 is different. And during this video, I think that 50 Cent touched on 3 really important things that he observed whilst he was spending time with Pop Smoke personally that convinced him that this young man was different and special. And much like Pop Smoke, when 50 Cent talks, I listen too. I mean, this is a man who himself has worn the crown of the rap game at the very top, made hundreds of millions of dollars in this culture that we all love, and he has seen many big names come and go. So 50's opinion is worth more than most. And it really highlights for anybody that maybe wasn't that huge of a Pop Smoke fan while he was alive, just why Pop Smoke's passing was such a devastating loss for music. Because 50 could see exactly why Pop Smoke was so special and so worthy of the reverence which the hip hop community has given him since he passed. So let's take a closer look at the things that 50 Cent observed about Pop Smoke that made him stand out from the rest of the crowded hip-hop scene.
You saying gangsta shit on the records, and it is some gangsta shit. A lot of times, niggas just say something and they not even like that. I'm be watching nigga 90% of the time. I'm watching rap nigga, I'm going, this nigga really like this, man. He's saying some shit to me and I don't know if it's real.
50, like many fans, was impressed by Pop Smoke's genuine street credentials. We've seen plenty of street rappers turn out to be cappers. Whether it's 6ix9ine going from screaming Treyway on the block to screaming Save Me to the Judge, or Rick Ross stealing his name and numerous plot lines from some other drug dealer called Rick Ross. But the thing with Pop Smoke is he always claimed to be different.
Because if you know me, then you know I'm really real in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's beef, we're not gonna go on the internet.
Right. And publicize it.
Publicize, because somebody might get hurt.
Right.
Unfortunately, we got the paperwork to prove that he was indeed the real deal. In fact, story goes, Pop Smoke was a tough guy ever since he was a kid. As a teen, he'd apparently attended 9 different schools.
I went to like 9 schools.
Why?
Bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Going through these streets.
Story goes, the reason that he'd been to 9 schools was because he kept bringing his 9 to school. And on one point, even got 2 years probation as an adolescent for a weapons charge that was later dropped.
Bro, I was on a bracelet for 2 years. What y'all call it out here?
A tag?
Yeah, we was on house arrest.
For 2 years?
For 2 years.
How old were you then?
I graduated with it. And I just graduated a year ago.
Oh, for real?
So,
oh, you were jammed.
So I had it from 17.
In fact, in his own words, he says that they kept kicking him out of school because even as a teen, they thought that he was some sort of gang leader.
For real. They said I was like a gang leader, some bullshit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, whatever. And they kicked me out. They say it's not the good fit for you.
It's not good
yeah.
fit.
But fortunately, while Pop Smoke was underachieving in the classroom, he was overachieving on the block. He claimed to have started dealing drugs as a teenager in the mean streets of Brooklyn's Canarsie, also known as the Floss, when he'd returned from prep school.
We was doing everything, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I always say, when you come from like the hood, you go and try at least 3 things, you know what I'm saying? Play ball, sell drugs, or scam. You know what I'm saying?
Scam is the new one now, isn't it, man?
Nah, we been scamming.
Okay.
Yeah, we been scamming.
Seriously?
Long time ago.
And well, it turned out he was a natural hustler because by the time he was 16, he was already pushing a Beamer.
I used to come in school, Mike. I was 16, I was driving a Beamer. Like,
Where you get a Beamer from at 16?
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Well, I was driving a Beamer though.
Could you even do you allowed to
have
drive?
a license.
No license.
Yeah.
At school.
No, I had a license.
You had a license.
I had a license at 15.
I wonder what kind of driver you are.
So Pop Smoke was hustling on the block and making a little bit of street money, but his realness ran far deeper than that. Whether or not his teachers were really right about him being a gang leader, he certainly appeared to be putting in work in a gang. In fact, if you've been listening to Pop Smoke's music casually, perhaps you were wondering what the Woo actually is. And well, if you've watched any of his interviews, chances are you're none the wiser.
Aren't familiar. What's the Woo?
Woo?
Yeah. For those who ain't familiar, what does that mean?
Me. I'm the Woo.
You the Woo.
I'm the Woo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? This shit is like a lifestyle. I hate when niggas try to mix the gang shit with the Woo shit. Shit got nothing to do with that.
Speak on Woo, because everyone's screaming out Woo. What does it mean for those who don't know what Woo is?
Woo is just.
Woo is a lifestyle.
Woo is a life. Woo is a
lifestyle.
Woo is a.
Us is a lifestyle.
Yo.
secret society.
I can't say no better than that.
That's
you know
it.
what I'm trying to say?
Oh, right, well, that's helpful. No, I'm sure that you can guess the Woo isn't some sort of after-school puzzle club. In fact, an early interview taken live from the flossy blocks of Canarsie gave us a little bit more insight into what the Woo really is.
Right. Los Angeles, you heard? It's all right. Yeah, it's the hood. Comfortable. It's the hood.
This the floss?
Yeah, it's the floss,
Oh,
man.
shit.
So, the Floss is a block in Canarsie, one of several gang-affiliated blocks in New York that rep the Woo, a colloquial name for a coalition of blood and Crip-connected New York gang sets that originate from the Wave Gang. And apparently the overall Woo movement also includes the G-Stone 9 Crips, with close ties of course to Bobby Shmurda's GS9. Well, that explains the recent track Make It Rain with Pop Smoke and fellow GS9er Rowdy Rebel. So apparently there's a lot of overlap between the different gang sets that form the Woo, one of which is Pop Smoke's frequently mentioned 092, which the flossy blocks on Canarsie are part of.
Like when niggas be saying woo, they talking about y'all niggas.
Let's talk about the whole flow. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I'm on our too. All that woo shit. Listen, I'm on our too. You heard? Like,
On our fucking
I'm from the
too, bro.
floors, you feel me? Woo niggas fuck with us. You know the vibes, bro, but on our too. Listen.
Oh,
we
that
right now,
way.
we in the 09s right now. Like,
Oh,
we in the
shit.
09s.
The
You know, like,
09s?
It's the 90s, you heard?
In fact, authorities have even accused Pop Smoke of being part of a subset of the GS Crips, the 823. Now, I could be wrong, but maybe this is the reason that Pop Smoke bizarrely says in numerous interviews that his financial goal for his career is to make $823 million.
I ain't gonna stop until I got 823 million though.
That's the number?
Yeah.
Why that number?
Yeah. Just 823 million. I need 823.
Okay.
That's when I'm gonna stop. Eventually I want 823 million, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, only 823 mil.
Now, there's obviously a whole bunch more lore and background info out there about New York drill gangs, the crews that Pop Smoke was aligned with, the Woo versus their GD ops, the Chew, but that's a whole other video for a whole other day. In fact, if you want a whole video of me breaking down New York drill gang lore, hit me on Twitter at TrapLordRoss and let me know that is something that you want, and if enough people do, I might just make it. But if there's one thing that we've established is that Pop Smoke was really about that street life. And even as his transition to a successful and legitimate rapper took place, he made sure that his street credentials were closely tied to his music. In fact, even his very first upload to his official YouTube channel was an attempt to establish himself as the real tough guy that you would know him from his music. That very first upload is a 7-second video titled Pop Smoke Smacks Op Chappelle. And this is an amateur recording of Pop Smoke savagely smacking a man to the ground from behind in a convenience store. Well, it turns out this is actually one of two Bloods who had smacked Pop Smoke around on camera when he was a child. A clip that was apparently widely circulated after going viral on WorldStar back in 2012. In fact, Pop Smoke even discussed going viral as a kid, seemingly suggesting that after this incident he would get recognized in the street. Though to be fair, he did say in a New York Times article that he was glad that this on-camera slapping had happened when he was a teenager because it made him boss up. And boy did he really boss up on that dude. Now it turned out that one of those two guys that had originally slapped Pop Smoke on camera when he was a kid back in 2012 was actually shot dead by the cops in 2013 when he was only 16. But fortunately for Pop Smoke, the other dude was alive in 2019. And so 7 years later, in that video that we saw uploaded on Pop Smoke's YouTube channel, Pop Smoke caught this vintage op lacking in a 7-Eleven and severely put the beats on him on camera. And I tell you what, this beatdown goes a lot further than the 7-second sucker punch that's on his YouTube, because there is a 3-minute version of this beatdown that exists on WorldStar that shows Pop Smoke ruthlessly stomping his op out and asking him if he remembers him while his crew stand by and tell him it's time to leave. A scene which I obviously cannot show you because it goes against YouTube's terms of service. But hell, at least I can show you the couple of times he took a break from beating on this guy to throw up some gang signs for the camera. Yeah, that video is honestly insane. But nearly as insane as the video and the beatdown itself is the fact that Pop Smoke wanted this to be the first thing that you found out about him if you went to his YouTube, choosing this single act of pure realness as the perfect introduction to him as an artist. Think about that for a second, right? Pop Smoke wanted you, before you'd heard any of his music, to watch him beat the brakes off of an op in 7-Eleven. That is the kind of G that Pop Smoke really was. But it didn't stop there. I mean, plenty of Pop Smoke street shenanigans were captured on camera for all to see, as if he was building up some kind of portfolio to prove that he was the most street dude that had ever done it. He'd been seen doing the dash from the Jakes like some kind of Canarsie Usain Bolt.
Yo, Pop! Yo, Pop! Off me! Get off of me! Get off of me!
And footage of another incident surfaced, seemingly showing Pop Smoke dodging an op, swinging a shank at him during a drilling at an intersection that looked more like a UK drilling than a New York drilling. I mean, it's tough not to be convinced of Pop Smoke's street credentials considering just how much street law there is on him. But unfortunately, as well as the fans, the NYPD were well aware of Pop Smoke's street certifications too, which actually led to a November 2019 incident where the NYPD took him and 4 other New York rappers off of the bill at the Rolling Loud Hip Hop Festival, citing a safety risk.
Because I know there was a moment people was trying to stop you from doing shows.
Yeah, they still are.
Is it still happening?
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that?
Yeah, one step at a time.
And then of course, there's the bizarre Rolls-Royce incident, where apparently a Rolls-Royce Wraith that was rented for a one-day music video shoot in California was never returned to its owner, who then tried to track it through GPS, discovered that it was moving through Arizona, apparently on a flatbed truck on the way to New York City, with Pop Smoke being pictured with the car on social media, leading the cops to eventually discover that Rolls-Royce parked outside Pop Smoke's mum's house, with newly tinted windows and a freshly pressed Alabama license plate.
Who stole the car? The rapper pleaded not guilty and remained silent as he walked out of the courthouse this evening. According to the indictment, he's accused of driving a Rolls-Royce across state lines knowing it had been stolen. Prosecutors revealed that the Rolls-Royce had been leased, but it remains unclear by whom. A spokesperson for the Eastern District of New York tells us the car was found outside the rapper's home in Canarsie last month. Then this morning, he was arrested at Kennedy Airport.
Once the car was recovered, Pop Smoke was swiftly arrested at the airport after returning from Paris Fashion Week. And while unfortunately Pop Smoke never got to really clear his name about this incident or explain why the hell this Rolls-Royce ended up outside of his crib with a new set of plates. But for the record, he had denied this version of events in interviews, saying simply the whole thing was cap.
Can you tell us what happened with the car, or you can't?
Foolishness. I'll tell you later, but just know.
I know it's sensitive. You can't talk about it right now.
But you know, it's cap.
So Pop Smoke was indeed a real one. And of course that is one reason why fans were so interested in him and his backstory, and probably why he was able to have so much of a huge impact on hip hop in such a short space of time. But in light of the nefarious things that he was involved in, Pop Smoke was no fool, because once things did start to take off for him, he began to take steps away from the street and into the industry, making the effort to pay attention and learn how to make the most of this opportunity and improve things for himself and his family.
I swear to God, the nigga was right in what I said. Damn. I'm thinking this nigga's not paying attention. And he was like, nah, this nigga, whatever 50's saying, I gotta pay attention to this.
No, I met 50.
How was that?
When I meet 50, I just listen.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? 50 like the same. So I know all the plays.
Yeah.
I know where he moving.
Pop Smoke really impressed 50 Cent with his thirst for knowledge, attentively writing notes throughout their meeting. And as his career progressed, taking him away from the life as a real gangster in the street, it was clear that he was trying to learn how to move correct and live an honest life as an artist.
Just being a criminal not cool, you know what I'm saying? It's not cool. All that gang stuff is corny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't get no money. And I like money. You know what I'm saying? Beefing don't get no money. Being a criminal don't get no money. They just put you in jail.
Pop Smoke was clearly money motivated, and unlike many others who come from the streets into the rap game, he'd begun to separate his street persona from who he had the potential to become long term. In fact, Pop Smoke even said that he had initially hated doing interviews because it reminded him of being questioned by the cops. But over time, he was beginning to learn just how important it was for an artist to give fans an insight into his life and enjoy the history that he was making by being interviewed.
Because, you know, most rappers come from the streets. So just imagine we at a table like this and the boys is right there. And they ask you the same question, so what was you doing last night? But once you get to realize, I think it's a mental thing. Like, homie, you're not in the streets no more. You gotta come to it with yourself. You gotta, like, you know what I'm saying? Embrace it, like, nah, you ain't in the streets no more. This ain't of you.
So by the time Pop Smoke's career was reaching fever pitch and he'd had the opportunity to work with Travis Scott on the hit song Gatty, once again his studious ears were wide open and he was looking at Travis for the keys to success.
Travis, fan.
You met Travis, right?
Yeah, fan. Like, just go ahead. Just be wanting to just watch a nigga work. I'm learning, like, what to do and what not to do.
Like what? Share one. Share one for up and coming.
Yeah, I share one.
One. You don't have to share them all, but
like, be in control of your own shit. Or your own creations. You know what I'm saying? Like, be a creator. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like when you create your shit, when you know what you want, don't let nobody get in between you and your creation. You know what I'm saying?
If you want something, it gotta be that.
Right.
You know what I'm
Otherwise,
saying?
opinions, too many opinions.
Yeah, otherwise, it ain't good because you know.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you, you know what I'm saying?
So where'd you learn that from?
I just learned that about being around niggas like that.
Yeah.
Niggas like Travis and Quay and 50, like they know what they want. Like they ain't moving until nigga, I need this.
It's subtle, but important to point out that in the interviews made within weeks of Pop Smoke passing, he was clearly far from the streets that he had come up on. He was looking to his future as an artist, learning and studying the greats that had come before him, and keeping an open mind to new knowledge and experience wherever he could find it. Hell, he was even eating snails in France. That's hardly some real Crip shit, is it?
I ate snails too. In Paris. I'm just gotta tell you, he's from Brooklyn, nigga, like.
Eating snails and shit.
But really though, he wasn't just soaking up snails and smart wisdom from the greats. He was also out here trying to educate the youth and passed on the wisdom that he had learned.
I'ma give like a message to my young niggas, you feel me? Like niggas like us coming where we come from, we can't afford to fuck up. We can't afford to slip up, make no mistakes, you heard? Because they watching and they want us to. You know what I'm saying? We got all odds against us. You know what I'm saying? And fake niggas be winning sometimes. So you know what I'm saying? If you wanna succeed, you can't fuck up. You got no space for it. You know what I'm saying? We can't afford it.
Pop clearly felt a great deal of responsibility with the blessings that were coming into his life. And nowhere was that more potent than when he was being interviewed by The Face magazine in the UK, where he explained who his music was for in an inspiring quote, saying that this was music for kids in the hood, kids who have got beef on the block, but still want to see a way to make things right and make their mothers proud. Which brings me to our final point.
Does the family understand what's happening at this point?
Nah, they ain't hit him yet.
Moms don't know what's going on outside?
Mom's just realized her son was Pop Smoke. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My mom be wooing. She a teacher.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
Shit, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Her son winning, wooing. She's
You know what I'm
supposed
saying?
to support everybody. Support. Real talk.
In one interview, Pop Smoke was asked whether or not he had a girlfriend, to which he replied he had a mum and a sister who were the most important to him. And Pop Smoke's mum clearly had his back during the tough times. Hell, she even publicly put up her house for bail money when Pop got charged for that missing Rolls Royce. And there's so many heartbreaking things about Pop Smoke's untimely passing. I mean, he was literally just on the brink of escaping the street life, hitting it big, and securing generations of wealth for his family. And I really can't imagine just how heartbreaking and devastating that loss must have been for those that were closest to him. To see the person that you love the most, literally a hair away from seeing all of their dreams come true, to then have it come to an end so suddenly, far too soon. And according to 50 Cent, Pop Smoke had always dreamed of hitting it big and one day taking his mother to an award show.
He said some shit to me. He told me he told his mother that he was going to take her to an award show. And I just want to make that part real.
And so apparently, this is a big reason why 50 Cent decided to step in to try and make Pop Smoke's album a classic, to ensure that his true potential was fulfilled musically, and to give his mother that proud moment that she deserved and that he'd been working so hard for. That was a moment that Pop Smoke deserved to give to her, that he unfortunately never got. And you know what? It's a moment that I truly hope happens. Because what happened to Pop Smoke was a tragedy. It was a loss for his family, it was a loss for the hip-hop culture, and ultimately it was a loss for the world as a whole. Because unfortunately, this was a man who had come from a tough background. He'd been through a lot of things, yet finally found something productive and positive to do with this talent that he had found. He'd made all the right moves, kept an open mind, and was only just implementing the changes that he needed to get on the track to greatness. But unfortunately, his past managed to catch up with him, just before he could fully break away from his old life and become the man he was destined to be. So, if you love Pop Smoke's music like I do, and you're as excited as I am about the art that he left behind, I say make sure that you buy, stream, and share his project. Because it was the fans that were making his dream come true while he was still here, and it's the support of the fans that are going to make him and his mother's dreams come true now that he's gone. I hope that we see Pop Smoke's mum at that award show living the dream that her son had imagined for her. And I hope that when that happens, he's looking down knowing that that dream came true too. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Pop Smoke for the amazing music. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Today was a really special video for me. I wanted to make sure that we respected Pop Smoke's legacy right. I'd always been a humongous fan of his music, so I wanted to make sure that I put something together that really represented how I felt about him and this horrible loss for the hip-hop community. I also want to give a huge shout out to my patrons, especially everybody who has been making story suggestions in my recent story suggestion thread on Patreon. Damien Edrington suggested that I do a story on 3-6 Mafia. Keep It Dead also slid in with the amazing suggestion that I cover the rise of the Joe Budden podcast. And Isaac M came through with the fire suggestion of doing an entire video on the Drake I Love McConan fallout. All amazing suggestions, but I want to hear more from you. So if you're not already a supporter of mine on Patreon, head on over to patreon.com/TrapLordRoss, because from now on, every single month, I'll be doing at least one story that has been suggested directly by you, the patrons. I'm super excited to be doing this on an ongoing basis, and I think that this is a really great way to make sure that the stories on my channel are always reflecting what it is you guys want to see and what it is you guys are passionate about. So make sure you head on over there and suggest me a story. Next month, I'll take a couple of the favorite suggestions and put them in a poll on Patreon, and whichever one wins, I promise you I will do. And while we're there, as always, I want to give a humongous shout out to all of my patrons. That's Eddie Aguila, Dylan Gordon, M. Clay, J. Superior, Tammy Whittington, Alien Evasion, Abraham Perez, Chosen One, Dreezy Draco, Frank Forsiglia, Max Hathaway 2000, Trauma Hound, Duhwan Jones, Ban Johnson, Mark Vader, Jay, Senjagara, Ryder, Pamela Vigil, Brandon Wedlow, Chris, Sebastian Andres Laredo, Sean Anderson, Vampires for Hire, Roberto Rosas, Matthias Martin, Deshaun Campbell, Tuxedo Mask, Eric Prince Nice-Amore, Eric Fredrickson, Jameson Filippi, Black Lives Matter, F the Police 5021, Antonio Groza, Bash the Prince, Chris J, Claire Audien, DJ Fred 100, Griffin Fuller, Henry Bryant, Jaden Show, Jason Wyman, Javier Gonzalez, Jessica Simmons, Kizzlebot, Naraj Shukla, Otaku VS, Harry Vagina, Penis Bag McPenis Face, Pyromancer, Vivi, Wilson Psychedelic, and of course all of the other names who you see on screen right now. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to get started on your story ideas. So check it out, patreon.com/TrapLordRoss. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!